Yeah, hello everyone. Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, ma'am. So let us start today's session. So before starting today's session, let's have a small glance in the previous session what we have considered. So in the others, before previous session we have considered about the HTML. So what is HTML? How to write an HTML code? How to create the pages? We have considered. So in the last session we have considered about the CSS. So what is the CSS? How to get with this inline CSS, internal CSS, and external CSS? We have gone through those things. So now today's topic is about the JavaScript. So what is a JavaScript? How to write the things. So in this JavaScript, so how can we write some small programs? So thereafter, what are the variables? And some let us look into some concept about the JavaScript in today's session. So in the coming sessions, we will be learning about ECMA. ECMA will be learning. So thereafter, we'll be learning about the React.js. So these are both the things. And as of now, today also we don't require any other tools rather than the Notepad or any other text editor. So for coming other sessions, you need to install the Node.js. You need to install the Node.js and Visual Studio Code that is required for the coming other classes. So as of now, for today, only Node, what do you say, text editor is enough. No Node and other things are not required for today.
Shall we start?
Yes, yes.
Good morning, everyone. Myself, Harshit Sri, first year MC in Narayana Engineering College, Nellore, Andhra Pradesh. I cordially welcome to all dignitaries, coordinators, Vision special team, research scholars, professors, research persons, and students for this third day of national level 1 week hands-on workshop on React.js organized by Vision. Now, I would like to request our research person, Mr. Balamaheshwar Gundigalla sir, to start today's session.
Yeah, thank you. So let us start today's session. So as said, in this today's session, we'll be discussing about the JavaScript. So what is a JavaScript? How to write a JavaScript? Let us look over here right now. So basically, what this JavaScript will do? So JavaScript, like it's simply some like it. Java is different and JavaScript is different, or some other thing. People may get confused between this HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So JavaScript, what it will do is whenever you write a script, it can change the content. It can change the content of your page. So it maybe you can change the paragraph, or you may change the colors and many other things. So if you write the JavaScript, we can do the additional changes which we want to implement to our web pages. So those things can be considered if you go with the JavaScript. So this JavaScript, like if you want to you implement it in a website, we can implement it in our website. So if you don't want to implement in our website, so then if you want to learn JavaScript same as a programming language, so how do we write the programming languages? Is like we write some program in some compilers and compile it out there, right? So in the same way here, so let me share my screen. Yeah, I hope everyone are able to see my screen, sirs and ma'ams. Yes. So now what we can do and how could we write these programs? So basically for running the JavaScript, you require only a web browser. You require only a browser. So how to write this code over here is, so first of all, open any browser, go to debugging mode. So if it is from the Chrome or Firefox or Opera Mini or some other browsers, so please go to that browsers and go to the debugging mode. So as of now in the Chrome, if you press F12, you'll be getting the debugging mode. So you need to press over here. So if you click on this, you'll be getting the console. So click on this console. So when you click on this console, you'll be able to start writing your programs, JavaScript. So let me write over here. So for every programming languages, you'll be having some default first program as a hello world program. So in same way for this also, let us start with the hello world program. So how do we write? So I think let me share my screen over here like a little bit larger. So I hope everyone are able to see here. Yes. So now what we'd be doing is we would be writing it as console. So when you write the console, what would be happen? It takes like, okay, some action to be performed here. So console.log. So now when you do this console.log, so whatever thing I'm trying to print, that would be printed. Console.log. So open the braces in the quotations. Write hello world. So when you write this hello world, your console will consider that and it will be printed. So here, this is what the code which we wrote, and this is how it has been executed. So this is how we start writing the programs in the console. So this is how we start writing the programs in the console. So after writing this console, like without this console, we can even write. We can even write in the our HTML programs. So now way to write, how to write in the HTML. Let us look over here right now. Right. So this is only for the console. If you want to learn something without the HTML code, and if you want to practice only pure JavaScript, then we can practice it over here. We can practice it over here. So, but basically we are focusing on the React. So that is the reason this JavaScript should be implemented in the HTML and some actions should be performed. So then in this case, we are not using this console. We'd be including our code in the HTML. So way to write the code in the HTML, how to write it. Let us have a glance over here right now. So now when I move into that particular topic, let me minimize the screen. 1 second. Yes. So now let us write the programming in our HTML page and let us include it in our uh, code over here right now. So let me show you how to write the program in this particular topic. Yeah. So let me resize this. Yes, so that's fine. So I'd be closing this console. So let us come back to our previous code. So now in this previous code, so now what we need to do. So I have some already the previous HTML code in the last session. So I'm going to completely delete this. I'm going to completely delete this code over here right now. So let us start writing from the starting. So HTML. So after this HTML, open the body tag, close the body tag. So in between this, let us start writing the code. So now what I want to do, so put some heading. If you want to put some heading, you can put it. So as considered in the yesterday, like we have considered about the classes and elements in the last class about the CSS. So now we are using a concept called as elements. So how to do that element, we'll see over here right now. So let me consider paragraph. So paragraph tag is there. So I want to return some text over here. Right now, this paragraph is empty. I'm not writing any text over in here paragraph. So now what I want to do, I want some script to be executed. So now that is the reason I use some tag called as script. So write a tag called as script. So when you write this tag called as script, you can write your JavaScript in between this. So as we have discussed the style tag in this and we wrote the style tag in the previous session, like in the CSS. So in the same way, you'd be writing the script tag over here. In this script tag, we'd be writing a JavaScript over here. So in this case, you'd be writing it as a document dot get element by ID. So if you write this particular thing, what would happen as we are using the IDs? So that is the reason I want to retrieve or some print something using the ID column. So that is the reason get element by ID. So after that, open the braces, right? So declare your ID name. So what is ID you want to put? So let us put it as welcome message or message, right? So I'll put it as MSG message here, right? So now what I want to do, I want this to be printed in the HTML. So then in this case, inner.html, right? So now what I should print here, I'll be printing my own example. So what is that example here is, uh, hello world or hello everyone, welcome to JavaScript session. So I want to print this, right? So I declare my semicolon over here, save it. So now what should be happen? The document I wrote my script here. So will it would be automatically executed? So will it would be automatically executed or not? Let's check. No, it is not executed. So how come it would be executed automatically? Yes. So if you want this to be executed, so then in this case, what is the ID you have called here? Like what is the ID you have declared here? That you need to call here. In yesterday we have considered the CSS classes. Class is equal to class name and ID is equal to ID name, which you have declared, right? So in the same way here we need to declare the ID name. So here I'd be writing it as ID equal to. So I'm writing it as a demo over here. So now what would happen in the paragraph tag? I'm not writing anything. There is no text. So in my script, I have some my data. In my script, I have some my data, right? So I saved it. I come back here and I reload it. So if I reload it, 1 second. It's completely fine. So why it is blocking in my system? I do have. 1 second. Let me show you. Sorry, here I declared my class name as some other thing, so that is the reason it's not working. So that's it. Yeah. So my class name is John. I save it. I come here and I reload. So now what has happened? It says, hello everyone, welcome to the JavaScript session. So it says in this particular way. So I did not write any paragraph. I wrote my script. So even it is executing. So if you want to execute your JavaScript, so then this is what the process. So we'd be using a script tag. So we'd be using this things document.getElement by ID. So also we'd be writing some document.write and many other ways are there. So basically how we write the JavaScript in the HTML is this is the format. This is what the format which we follow. This is what the format which we follow. So let us consider here using the ID. I have done this particular thing. So now after this ID and so on, like let us consider leave this ID all the concepts. So now let us move into pure JavaScript. So what is the JavaScript? How to write the programs? Yeah, understood. We can write it using the console. We can write it in the HTML code. So if you want to place this completely separate into a text document and save it as a JavaScript, we can even do that. So if you do in that case, we need to use the link tag link rel is equal to script that line we need to declare and declare your JavaScript where the sources of your JavaScript is there that we need to declare, and instead of writing the script, it would be loaded from that particular script file which we have placed in our uh, JavaScript folder. That is what the things which we can do. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Right. So now let us move to the next topic. So after this particular thing, now what we are going to consider. So how to write this particular syntax, way to write this particular syntax. Let us look over here right now. So as already you people know, like for every programming languages, we would be having the data types. So how to consider this particular data types, how to give this values. Let us look it over here right now. So when you move into this things called as variables. So what are those variables? How to write that variables? Let us look here right now. So let us consider the script tag. Right now I'm not declaring it as in a separate external file. So we can even declare in that particular way. So what are the things which we are doing here? We can do it in separate JavaScript file. So we'll look at it later. So right now I delete this complete code over here. Right. So like let us put this thing over here, right? What are the class name which we have declared, ID we have declared, that is fine. So now we are going to the topic called as variables. So how to declare a variables in this particular thing. So if you want to declare a variable, in the JavaScript, so then we need to write var. So in the other programming languages, we used to write like int a equal to 5. So it means like we are declaring only 5 in the particular variable called as a. So this is how we should declare in the C. So coming to the other programming languages, like we'd be writing a dollar. So dollar $a. In the PHP, we'd be writing like the dollar $a is equal to 5. So in this, we'd be declaring the variables in various ways. So coming to the JavaScript, what we need to do is we need to use a keyword called as var. So we'd be using var. So var is the first thing which you need to declare while creating a variable. Var. So what you want to do? You want to put some variable called as x. So x is equal to. So what I want to declare? I want to declare a value called as 99. So 99 I have declared it. So semicolon. So this is how we declare the variable and how we assign a value to that particular variable. So thereafter now what we are going to consider. So in this way, what are the other variables are there? If you want to declare some other variables like a, b, or whatever you want, you can declare. So after this, I declare some value called as 25. Right? I save it. So this is how we declare the values. So after declaring the values, if you want to print the values, so if you want to print the values, like if you want to variable to be printed, right? So then in this case, like let us observe here right now. So here what I'm doing is I've said hello, welcome to so-and-so session. So instead of this, I'll remove is the value of x is, I want to print the first variable. So then what I'd be doing, right? I'll simply declare the variable name here plus the variable name. So the variable is x. X is my variable. I save it. I come back to my page and I reload right now. So now what would be happen? The value of x is 99. That has been printed. So if you want the second variable to be printed, so then you can declare the other variable, right? So we're getting simply a. So save it and I reload it. So automatically the value of a would be printed. So in case if you want two values to be added and if you want to be printed, so then in this case, what we'll be considering, we'll be declaring another variable called as c. So it's up to you. Like you no need to put some like order or some other thing. You can specify your own variable name. So where c is equal to, so we have a variable called as x plus another variable called as a. So I want to do the addition of these two things and I want to print it, right? So the value of the sum of two numbers is the variable called as c. So now sum of two numbers would be printed. So I save this, come back to the browser and reload. The sum of two numbers is 124. So this is how we get the variables. This is how you declare a variable, how you print a variable. If you want to perform some addition, we'll be performing in this particular way. So after performing the addition, now let us go with the next one. So now here what we want to consider. So if you want to declare other variables such as string or so on, so then in this case, what can we do, right? So let us look over here. So let us leave this thing. So now what I want to do, I want to change this message. I want to leave this variables. So now when we consider a string can be declared in a double quotations, or else a string can be declared in a single quotations also. So this is how we go with this particular concept. So after going with this variables concept, now string we have done. So now if you want to print this thing, so if you want to print this particular thing, so we can directly write it. So here what I'd be doing is, so the variable is username. The first, let me put it as a first name. Instead of user, I want to put it as a first name. So that's fine. So this is what the text. After this text, I want to print some message over here, right? So it's a first name. So first name. So plus, I want to write some message. So if I want to write some message, what I'd be doing? The last name of user is some user is. So after this, again I'd be giving a plus, and now I'd be declaring my variable. So that variable is last name. So last name I have declared, so that is what my variable. So that's fine. Last name, is it correct? The spelling? Yeah, that's fine. So last name. So now the first name of user is, the first name of user is. So save it. I come back to my browser and I reload it. So now if you have observed, it says the first name of this user is so on, so on. It is being printed in this particular way. So now what if you want? Now I want the first name to be printed in the first case and the last name to be printed in the second line. So then in this case, so now what we can do is, additionally we can include our HTML tags in between our JavaScript also. We can include our HTML tags in our JavaScript also. So now after like the first name of the user is Mahesh, I have said. So thereafter, now what I want to declare here, I want to declare a break. So now if I want to declare a break, so now simply if I write a br tag, what would be happen? It would be break. It can break the text over here. Right now, I'll be writing a br tag in this quotation. So let me write a br tag. So when I write this br tag, so I'd be getting my break. So if you observe, let me reload and check. So what has happened? The first name of the user is Bala and the last name of the user is Mahesh. So this is what the thing. So now again you may get it out. So here what has actually happened? This text as well as your variable both are being combined at a time. And now what you want to do is you want to give some space over here. So then in this case, we would be considering an HTML tag. So in the last previous session, we have considered percentile MBS, percentile NBSP. So when you declare this percentile NBSP, we'd be getting that no break space. Right? So let me reload and show you. So now what has happened when I've given NBSP, I got a single space. So if I give it for the multiple times, so if I give it this for the multiple times, this HTML tag, I'd be getting it for the multiple spaces. So if you have observed, the space has been increased. So this is how we go with your concatenation of the variables with the text. So right now you got a text, you got a variable. Both the things have been combined togetherly. Both the things have been combined togetherly. So this is how we go with the variables. After going with these variables, what we can do is, so we have gone with the variables, we have printed the variables. After the variables, let us go with the operators. If you want to declare multiple variables, you can even declare the multiple variables. So that is fine. So like we have considered with the string, float, like if instead of this integer, you can even give it the multiple values such as what do you want? If you want to consider a float value, if you want to consider some other value, we can declare it here. So after considering these particular values, so now let us go with operators. So what are those operators? Have to consider this particular operators, have to do this. So as already we have done with this one particular operator over here. Here we have considered plus symbol. So instead of this plus symbol, like when you go with this operators, we'll be having the arithmetic operator, assignment operators, and logical operators. So now let us go with this assignment operators. So in assignment operators, we can consider plus, minus, right? So the other things which we can consider is minus, star, again what we can say is we can consider the division, percentile, and modulus. So many other things we can consider over here. So this comes under your arithmetic arithmetic operators. So what we can say is like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and so on can be considered as your arithmetic operators. So after the arithmetic operators, we'll be going with your assignment operators. So what are the assignment operators? How to write a program of the assignment operators? Let's look over here. So instead of this, let me write another variable here. So var is equal to. So right now we have considered a variable. Let me consider a new variable called as b. B is equal to. I want to declare a value called as. Let us give some particular value called 25. Let's consider I want to give it 25 over here. So this is what the thing. So after declaring this 25, right now let us go with as an assignment operator. Let us go. So when you go with assignment operators, we'd be dealing with. So we'd be dealing with equal to. Equal to is one thing. Plus and equal to. Sorry. Equal to is one thing. Plus and equal to. Minus and equal to. So after this, star and equal, like this, all the operators, what are the arithmetic operators which are performed? All the operators can be performed here again. So let us consider one example over here for this arithmetic operators also. So after this, now what we'll be doing is, so let me go with plus and equal to. So now when I go with this plus and equal to, what would be happen? I've declared a variable b. So for this, I want to assign and plus operator for this, right? So now what I'm doing here is, I'll be considering, so the variable is b, right? B, right, plus and equal to, let us put this something like 10 over here. So when I put this 10, what would be happen defaultly in this case? So how it would be executed as? So b default, what is the value of b? Default value is 25. 25 plus 10 would be considered, and right now you'll be getting as 35. So the new value of b is 35. So when you're trying to print a b, right now it prints 35, not 25, because first of all you have declared a variable. After declaring a variable, you have assigned an assignment operator to the particular variable, like plus and equal to and minus and equal to, or like multiplication equal to some other symbols which you have used. So based upon particular symbols, it will be keep on adding. So this is same as your other programming languages. So now let us print this particular thing. So I want to print the variable b. So let me put this to work in the quotations. So if you want to comment something in the JavaScript, then put double slash. So if you give the double slash, that particular thing would be considered into the comments. So this is how you give the comments. And if you want to put the multiple lines into comments, so then in this case, what you want to do is give a backslash, give star. So this is of the opening of a comment until which line you want to put into comments. So if I want to put till here, so give star and backslash. So till here, whatever the code which you have written, that would be considered into the what do you say? That will be considered into the comments. So this is how we go with the single line comments and multi-line comments in the JavaScript. So after going with the single and multi-line comments, let us print here right now. So let me. So let me put all these things into the comments over here right now. Here. Right. So the rest of the code is in the comments. So that is the reason showing you in the green color over here. So right now I've declared a variable called as b, and I've given some value called as some like I've used an operator. After this, let me print this particular thing. So document dot get element by id. So what is id which you have declared? So right now in the class we have declared only one id. So if you want to declare some other id, you can declare some other id. So let me give some like okay, let us put for this one, let us put as a message is id. So after that you need to declare it as dot inner html. So when you declare this, it would be printed over there. So now here what I want to declare, I want to directly print the variable. So b I'll be declaring and comma. So that's it. If you're declaring any string over there, if you're declaring some any text over there, then that should be displayed in the quotations. So as of now you're directly displaying only the variable. So then in this case I've just declared the variable. So come here and I reload it. So now right now the value of b is 35. Directly 35 is being printed. So if you've done some modifications, so that modifications would be displayed here. So if you want to go with something like what can I say you, if you want to go with some other operators, you can even use some other operators. So instead of plus, I'll give some it as a multiplication. So you can check the difference right now, right? So when I reload it, you'll be getting it as a 250. So this is how we go with your operators. So after going with these operators, now what we are going to consider. So let us go with the string operators. So what are the string operators? How to go with the string operators? Let us look over here. So when I'm going to the string operators, so now what I'll be considering, let us consider a variable, right? So after this, let me consider a variable called as var equal to, let me put something like already is in the quotations, a is equal to hello. So after this declare some quotations, and var b is equal to, sorry, let me put that in quotations, where b is equal to, I want to write something like what I want to write. So let me write hello world. So these are two different variables. These are two different variables, right? If I want to print these two variables at a time and store in a new variable, so then in this case, what I can do is var of. So after that, now what I want to do, let me consider another variable called as c, where c is equal to. So now I'd be considering the variable a. So variable a plus. So if I want some space between both of the things, so then I can directly write. So if I want to give some space, if I want to break it, if I want to print it two lines, whatever things I want to do, so then I'll give some text over here plus in the quotations. So I want some space. I have given some amount of space over here plus another variable. So now what I want to do, I want to print something like the other variable called as b, right? So after that I declare my semicolon. So now let us print this particular variable called as c, right? So I save this, I come back and I reload. So if you have upload, you got hello world. So in between this hello world, if you want to go with something like hi or some other thing, hello world, instead of this empty space, I want to write something like welcome. So save it, I come and I reload. So now in between these two words, this particular word has been added. So this is how you go with your strings. After this, let us go with the topic for the string concatenation. So same as your assignment assignment operators. So let us see that also. So now instead of this, so now what I've done with these two variables. So leave these two variables. So now what I'm doing here for the first variable, instead of hello world, hello everyone, I want to put. So then in this case, I'll consider a variable called as a. A is like a plus and equal to. So now what I want to do, I want to add a string. So hello everyone, thank you for attending session. So I want to put this particular thing. So I want to concatenate the first variable with some message. So then in this case, I'll be going in this particular way, right? So I'll give some semicolon over here. So after this, so now what I'll be doing is after giving this two variables, so now rightly I'll print that particular variable over here. So right now for the A I have added, right? So now I need to print my variable A. So I save it. I come back and I reload it. So now that particular thing would be added. Hello everyone, thank you for attending session. So for this both things you don't have a space. So if you want to give a space, you can declare in this particular variable. You can declare this particular variable over here, or else you can write your HTML code. You can give the space here, or else you can even use your HTML tag over here. So this is how we go with your string concatenation. This is how we go with the string concatenation. Right. So now let us go with the comparational operators. So when we go with the comparational operators, you'd be having with the equal to, you'd be having not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, you'd be having. So before saying those things, we'll be going with your conditional statements. So what are the conditional statements? How to write these conditional statements? Let us consider. So conditional statements are nothing but when we go with this if condition, if and else. So those things will be considered as your conditional statements. So using them, we can consider our examples. So let us go with that particular statements, conditional statements kind of thing, right? So basically how it would be there is as declared is the same thing how we are writing with some other programming languages. In the same way it would be considered. So let me put this comments to all the lines. I want to comment all the code over here. I've commented it. So now let us write start it newly. So how will we declare? So basically you'll be writing your if. So same it as other programming languages. So if open the braces, declare your condition, open the flower braces, write your block of statements which should be executed, that you need to declare here, right? So now let us write this particular code over here. So let me consider here the same thing. So now what I want to do, I want to consider a variable. So let me write a variable over here where a a is equal to 10. I have declared this variable. So what I want to do, if I want to check with this particular condition whether the variable a is greater than or not, I want to check. So then in this case, so what I'll do, I'll declare a variable a whether the a is greater than 20. I'll declare it. So after that, now what I'll be doing is I need to write my string message over here. So what I'd be writing, the value of so and so is like what are the own message. If the particular condition, is satisfied, then this block of statement would be executed. If not, that block of statement will not be executed. So let us check with this particular scenario here right now. Right. Right. So after this, let us write with some other code. So save it, let us execute and check it. So now what has happened? That particular condition is not satisfied. So that is the reason we did not got any output. So now let me change the value. Right, I've changed the value. I come back and I reload. So now the particular thing has been printed. I'm just printing a variable. So that is the reason it has been printed. So whatever the code or whatever the logic which you want to consider, uh, that you need to declare it over here, right? So this is how we go with your if condition. So after this if condition, we'll be going with our if, and after if we'll be going with the else condition. So let's look into that. Right. So please wait for a couple of minutes. Well, please wait for a couple of minutes, a minute. Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. So let us go with that else condition. So now let me show you like how to go with this particular else. So after this particular thing, where's it? I'm gonna take it over here. So if this particular condition has been not satisfied, we need to go with the else condition. So let us write this else over here. So I'm getting my else. So after writing this else, so there would be no condition for your else. So simply open the braces and write the statement. So what are the statement which you want to consider? What are the statement which you want to print? You can directly declare it here. You can directly declare it here. So I let me consider in a shorter way. Like I can write this document dot this thing for the multiple times, right? So what I'll be doing document dot so on. Instead of this message, the value of a is like or else the condition is not satisfied. I want to print like the value of condition the if condition is not satisfied or it is not true. So whatever you want, you can consider. So that would be printed. So now if I change this value, right? If I change this particular value, now I can observe the else condition has been executed. So this is how we go with your if condition and the else condition. So after going with your if condition, you can go with the else condition. Thereafter, you'll be going with your else if. Right. So after this, let me write this else condition. So if we go with this else, so right now, if you want to place a multiple if condition, so then in that case, we'd be going with instead of writing the multiple if conditions, we'd be going with your else if concept. So it's directly can write else if, right? So else if. So if you want to write some condition, you can declare the condition over here. So right. So if what are the condition we want to declare, you can write it over here. So let me write some other condition. One second. So I'm getting some other condition. If a is greater than 5, this block of code should be executed. Please wait for a couple of minutes, 1 minute. Yeah, sorry. Let us come back. So now when I move into that particular topic about this particular statements, we wrote this particular condition. So after this condition, I can simply write that document dot so on again. So in this document dot so on, if you want to write your own message, you can write it. Right, writing this document dot so on for every three conditions, it would be become a really big problem. So then in this case, simply what we'd be doing is, like, we'd be considering a variable over here. We'd be considering a variable, right? So let me consider some variable called as test. So test is equal to, so in this test, what are the message which you want to declare, you can write it. So not true, what the condition, if condition is true, what are the message you want to consider, that you can write it over here. So thereafter here, the same thing I'd be doing, where test is equal to some else if condition is true, I want to write it. So I declare the semicolon, and now in the same case I'll be adding it. So now which variable you want to print? So which variable you want to print? So whether the first variable will be printed, or the second variable would be printed, or the third variable would be printed. So then in this case, what we'd be considering is, right, so defaultly at the last you'd be adding that document.html, like we'd be adding that this line over here, and we'll simply declare a variable here. So document dot get element by id. So instead of this, I'd be putting it as test. So now what would be happen, which condition has been executed, that particular statement would be printed. Right, now I save these things and I come back and I reload it right now. So now the else if condition has been executed. So when you say which particular condition is being executed, that would be considered. So now greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, or equal to equal to. So now if you put it equal to, so this would be considered and it would be printed. So right now the else block has been executed. So in this way you can practice the what do you say, arithmetic operators, we have done assignment operators, and logical operators and other operators we can practice using these particular statements. Using these particular statements we can practice. So now moving into the next topic. All right. So this is how we go with your conditional statements. After going with the conditional statements, we'd be going with the after the conditional statements, we can go with some functions. So what are the functions? How to write these functions? We'll have a glance. So as compared to the other programming language, in the functions, we'll be having the function, the normal function, function with the parameter, I mean single parameters and multiple parameters we'll be having. So how to write that particular functions, we'll have a glance over here right now. Right. So let us put this all into the comments. Right. So for going with these functions, what we need to do is we need to consider as how we are declaring the variable, we have considered var. So in the same way for the functions also we need to consider a keyword called as function before it. Yeah. So function. So right function, after writing this function, now what we will be considering is function space my function name. Like what is the function which you're considering? Those things we need to declare. So let us consider if you want to create my function name. So if you want to put some welcome message or some other thing, so those things we need to consider. So how we'd be considering is, let us look it over here right now. Function space. Let me write some normal function like msg. Message is what my function name. So after writing with this message, now what I'll be doing is, right now I've just created a function. So my function name is, like right now for writing a function, what we need to do is, One second. Yeah, sorry. Right. So after this, now I saved my function. After right now we'll be using a variable. Like we'll be using function. So we'll say function space your function name. After that, now what we'll be doing is instead of writing this document dot get element ID. So I'm not using this particular things directly. I'm saying to write this particular thing. So save it. I come back to my page and I reload. So now what has happened? As soon as I've executed this, I did not got any output. So what is the reason for not getting output? Because as of now, I have created only my function. I have not called it. So until and unless you're not calling the function, that particular function will not be executed. So let us execute that particular function right now. So you need to call the function. So how do you call the function is write the function name and give the braces. By that your function would be executed. So now if you have observed right now, I've not used any paragraph tag or not. Now I've not used any tag. Directly I've used my JavaScript. So I'm saying to directly print a text over there. So document dot write. So I've said that to write. So automatically the text is being written. Right. So now what has happened? Welcome to React.js workshop that has been printed. So this is how we go with the this is how we go with this particular thing. So now let us write the next function over here. So this is a function with a parameter. I mean without a parameter. Let us write a function with a parameter. So function. So after this I want to give a message. So I want to write some other message called as message one right now. So I've created a function. So let me show you. So in this function, let us write same thing again over here. So what I want to do is document dot write name message one. I want to take a parameter here right now. So I want to consider your name. Name is your parameter which I'm considering, right? So it's not in the quotations. It will become as a string again. So name I want to consider, right? So now in this case, what I want to do, document dot write document dot write. So what I want to do, I want to just print a message. Welcome to hello, welcome to the session. I want to print individual message over here right now. So in the quotations, hello. Hello. After this, I want to print some message. Welcome to hello Mahesh or hello some person. So plus name hello so and so plus in the quotations welcome to session. I want to print this particular thing. I want to print this particular thing over here right now. So now I save it. I come back and I reload. I need to call the function over here. Let me put this into comments. Okay, that is fine. So after this, I have created a function with a single parameter. After creating a function with a single parameter here, so now what has happened right now? Hello, so and so printed. So it is not being executed until and unless you call a function that will not be executed. So now you need to call the function. So I've called my function. So now I save it. I reloaded it. So if you now observe, so now what has happened? It is saying undefined. So why it is saying undefined? Because I'm using the parameter, right? So in that particular parameter, I've considered the value to be printed. So I've not passed any value. So I have not passed any value. So that is the reason I'm getting my error. So if you want to pass the value, so then how can we consider? So we can consider in multiple ways. So then let us look into the particular thing over here right now. So message of, so I'll give something value called as brain vision. Save it, come back and I reload it. Right now you can see here. So what are the value while I'm calling my function? It has been declared. So now if you pass something like that, it gives you as undefined value. So this is how you go with your function with the parameters. I mean, like we have considered normal function with the parameter we have considered. So thereafter, if you want to collect a value from the user end, so then in this case we can consider like this. So right as of now, let me consider some thing over here. So let me call a variable called as var user. So username I want to consider it from the user end. So var user is what my variable. After this, now what I'd be doing is window dot prompt. I'd be using window dot prompt. So prompt method I'm using. So I'm using this prompt method. What would be happened is I'd be able to collect the values from the user end from the HTML page. So now prompt dot. So now what you do? Please enter your name. You would be saying. So now what would be happen? User would be able to enter his name. So I need to put a semicolon over here. So that's fine. So now I save this. Observe here. I've saved it. I came back to my document and reloaded it. So now as soon as I reloaded, what has happened? That prompt block, that prompt message is being executed. That prompt message is being executed. So now what it's saying? It is saying as this particular thing, what it is showing you is it is asking you to enter the name. So now enter the name as Bala. So when I enter the name as Bala, you can check. So I did not got any output here. So now let us do some modification for the previous program over here. So let me put some BR tag here. Now, so that's fine. After this, now after collecting this value, so it is called as user, right? So in the user variable, what are the data which has been given from the user that is being stored. So now let us consider that particular operation. So now what I want to do, message one off. So now instead of passing directly a string, I'm passing a variable called as user, right? So two times I'm calling my function. You can call for the multiple times. So right now I'm giving it as a Bala. So see here, first one it said, welcome to the React.js. Hello Brain Ocean. This is executed for the first time. So for the second time, hello Bala, welcome to session. So it has been considered. So in this way, we can consider in multiple ways. Like what you are doing, you're creating a function. For the function, it is accepting the values. It is accepting the values from the user end also. So this is how we go with the functions. In the function, we'll be considering the built-in. What do I say? We'll be considering the values from the user end also. So function with single parameter, function with the multiple parameters can also be considered in a same way. Can also be considered in a same way. So now let me show you over here. So after this, if you want to create a small Calci app, so if you want to do a small Calci app, so same way we can consider. So now instead of this, I'd be writing this two lines over here, right? So now let us do the same thing over here. So after this, enter your name, enter first number, enter second number, right? So after this, right now let me put some variable called as a over here, a, other number called as b. So right now I've considered these two variables. Let me put this into comments. Let us create a new function. So now right now I've created a function which is creating a calci function, cal. I want to put it as a cal over here. So I need to pass two variables called as two parameters. So a comma b I'm passing it directly, or else number one, number two, whatever you want you can consider. So now what I'll be doing here is I need to create this addition program or subtraction, whatever you want you can consider over here. So now where c is equal to, so now c is equal to a plus b I want to consider. I want to consider a plus b, and now simply I'll write like document dot write. So now what I want to do, after document dot write, I need to print out some message, right? So hello, the addition of two numbers is so on. After this, I want to print that variable. I want to print the c variable over here. So simply I give it as a plus c. So I want to give a semicolon and closes. So this is what my function. So this is what my function. Now what I'll be doing, simply I'll call my function cal of. So now I'll be passing the values. And be passing the values a comma b over here. So that's up to you. What are the variables which you can use your different parameters over here. Instead of variable names, you can use your different things over here. So thereafter, now let us do with this is, let me save this thing. I have called the function over here, and so on. Let us execute it. So after executing, it is asking to the first number 25, second number 24 I've executed. So now if you observed, it is showing in this particular way, 25 plus 24. The string concatenation is being happened here. The string concatenation is being happened. So now if you want to consider that into the string, then you need to go with the typecasting. Then you need to go with the concept called as typecasting. So when you go with the typecasting, what would be happen is we can consider what can say you typecasting will be considered. Typecasting is nothing but converting of one data type to other data type is called as a typecasting. So typecasting can be done in this particular case in order to do this particular thing. So right now let us move to the next topic. Let us move in the next topic over here. One second. So it's still working fine. Yeah. So I'll share this basic apps. So before going this, let us look some few other things over here. So what are the few other things are there? I'll say you. So basically DOMs would be there. If you learn the DOM concept, then that would be really helpful for you people in order to do those things in an easier way. Right now I have considered it as a, what I have said use here, I've said document.write. So now it is writing it. So now if you want, instead of this, if we can directly write something like right. So let me write something like, instead of this, let me write like window.alert. So when I write this window.alert, what would be happen is I'd be getting a pop-up over here. Window.alert means like you people know, when you see, as soon as you see the screen, like what can I say you, as soon as you people see the screen, you'll be getting a prompt, right? So if you want to get that particular prompt, you'll be writing this window.alert. So what this window.alert will do is it will try to we'll try to print it. So window.alert. So now what I want to do, I want to print the same message over here. So now instead of, if you have observed right now, what has actually has happened is when I've used this prompt method, instead of printing it in the HTML page, it is giving you the prompt over here. So when I click OK here, that particular program would be vanished. It shows you only in the prompt. So when you go this prompt or alert, what would be happen is it gives you the pop-up. It gives you the pop-up in the particular page. Until and unless you perform the particular action, it will not execute the complete page. Until and unless. So let us reload the page and check it. Right now what I have done, I've executed this page. So now if I do cancel, so what would be happen, right? So the particular thing has been performed. So now without doing some action over there, this particular page can't be executed. This particular page can't be executed. So now what I am doing here is when I reload it over here, definitely I need to enter a value. So without entering this particular value, what it would be happen is if I'm not entering this value, the HTML code, whatever the code which you are having, that will not be executed. So now let us write some value. Sorry, first number I want to put it as like I put hi. I think how it is going the string concatenation, right? So hi Mahesh. So okay. So now the addition of two numbers is hi Mahesh has been printed. So this is how the things which we people go with the things. So after this, now I have not said you about the external CSS, right? Sorry, external JS. So in the same case, what you'd be doing is whatever the code which you wrote here, in this particular script tag, that can be considered out. Like you can cut it out here, open a new text document. You can open a new text document over here. So you can paste it. You can paste all your JavaScript code over here in a new document, and you can save it as .javascript. So now how can you save it as file save as? You'll be putting as simply as some. Let me put it as some. I'm doing like addition, right? Some .js. So your file name .js. So then what would be happen is we can create. Right. So now that particular thing you can save this. So after saving this, you need to link. So how we do link? So same yesterday how we have linked our CSS. So in the same way also we can link this particular things over here right now. Right. So now what I'm doing is, so this is how you people do. So this is, you need to add it in the header part, not in the script tag here. So now what you need to do is you need to add the header part over here. In the header part, you need to add that particular link. You need to add that particular link. So how this particular thing would be done, I'll show you. So now if you consider to some other website, so as considered GB, that is some other college name. Any other college name? Sorry, sirs and ma'ams, like any one of the college name, please.
GL Bajaj.
So Jayendra sir, I think I have cleared your doubt. So someone is saying about college name.
GL Bajaj Engineering College. Bajaj. Yes.
Yeah. So when I go with this particular, like I'm not focusing only with one this college, like whoever it is there, and I'll be considering it. So any particular college or any particular website, whatever it may be. So if you focus on this particular thing, so what would be happen is it's some problem with my site internet. Right. So now if you have observed here, so in this session, I have not showed you how to go with this external CSS or these things. So consider this particular website source code. So if you have gone with this website source code here, what would be happen is you would be getting, like, see here, link rel is equal link href is equal to css.animate. So here they're using multiple CSS. They are using the multiple CSS in this particular website. They have used this CSS. So when you click on this, the CSS code of this particular website, the CSS code of this particular website would be opened over here. So this is about the CSS code. So in the same way, they would be using the JavaScript also. Let me show you. Where is it? JavaScript. Yeah. Yes. So here's the JavaScript. So here's, in a simple way, they'd be using this particular script.source. So we are declaring it in the body tag. So then in this case, we can declare in this particular way. If not in the header tag also, we can declare in a we can declare in the header tag also. So how we can declare is, we can declare it from the, we can write the declaration in the body after the body tag. After the body tag also, we can declare this source, or else in header part also we can declare this particular source. So now let me show you over here right now. So when I click on this particular jQuery bootstrap min.jss, so I can go to that particular file. So this particular college is also using the bootstrap. So now what you're going to consider. So see here, what are the codes? Like if you have considered if undefined type is equal to so on, they're using the jQuery. So they're using this JavaScript. This JavaScript has been written in this particular format. So if you want to get this JavaScript in a neat format, open this in a Notepad++ or some other editor. So then you'll be getting a proper structured format. So now what are the codes which you have considered? What are things which you have learned? All these things would be declared here. All these things would be declared here. Right. So now moving into the topic about the JavaScript again. I'm sorry, yesterday due to some technical issue, I could not send the files of your CSS file, but today definitely I'll send the CSS cheat sheet as well as this JavaScript cheat sheet. So this JavaScript cheat sheet and this CSS cheat sheet will be helpful for you people in order to develop your web pages in an attractive way, right? So that is what the thing. And coming to the topic about the tomorrow's session, you would be having about ECMA script. So what is ECMA and how to write with the things, you'd be having an idea like that would be taught tomorrow. So before going with that, there are some pre-requested sites for the tomorrow session. So for that, who are the people are practicing it parallelly, they can install the Node.js. They can install the node in your system and Visual Studio Code. So these two things are prerequisite sites for tomorrow's session. So I request everyone who are practicing it parallelly, they can install the node as well as the Visual Studio Code in advance to get your sessions tomorrow session hands-on session. Right. So coming to the topic about
link.
Sorry, sir.
Hello.
Yeah. Sorry, sir.
Can you write in chat box link or website address where we can get the both application node and
yes, I'd be sending the link, sir. I'd be sending in the WhatsApp link, sir, because this chat link would not be available for the all. I'd be sending in the WhatsApp, sir. WhatsApp or the Telegram group.
Okay, fine, fine.
Yeah, sir. So as of now for today, I'm done with the session. So I thank you everyone for giving this wonderful opportunity for me. Thank you one and all. And I'd be sharing the cheat sheet for everyone, so you can practice other things.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.